if there's one agency in Washington that is above partisan politics and what should be above all of the political fray, it's the VA. How hard is it to keep it out of Washington politics?
It is hard. We're a long way from the consensus that existed in this country, after World War II, all the way up through really the beginning of Vietnam, when it comes to issues that all of us should be united around. But I do agree with you. VA has turned the corner. This president has made veterans the centerpiece, not only first of his campaign, but also of his presidency, in a way that no president since the end of the war in 1945 has done. I've had an unprecedented level of support, not only from him, but also to present to the Congress the largest budget in the history of the department.
What is the biggest challenge that you faced coming into a department that, when you came in, was really getting a lot of criticism from both sides of the aisle?
My most important job was to calm the institution down, to tell people that I would be there as their advocate, to promote them, but also send a strong message that we are holding people accountable. In this administration, under this president, we've let go 8,600 employees who are not living up to the standards that we expect. The other thing that I wanted to emphasize, and it is an issue that is incredibly important to you, it has been ingrained in you for years, and that is the subject of life and the dignity of life, to help save those 20 veterans a day who take their lives. I'm the head of the President's task force. I have said that if we look at the last tragic act in a veteran's life, we'll be doing a disservice to the veteran and the country. We have to look at mental health. We have to look at homelessness and addiction. And as you know, with my July 4th directive, we also have to look at the spiritual well-being of all of our veterans who come to see us.
One of the things that I wanted to tie together, you talked about the 20 veterans a day that commit suicide, but this summer you did take an unprecedented step that was applauded throughout certainly the spiritual community. You have restored the idea that it is okay for VA chaplains to have a Bible. As crazy as it may sound that had to be done, there were VA chaplains who were told they couldn't bring a Bible into the facility, that they couldn't offer spiritual counseling. You have given freedom to the spiritual leaders, regardless of what faith they come with, whether it's Christian,
That's
Jewish,
right.
Muslim, Hindu. You allow them to be who they are and to bring comfort to the veterans in a manner that those veterans ask for.
Coming from a military family, the notion of faith, the place of the chaplains in military life has been a fundamental foundation for what we do since George Washington. And what was unique about General Washington was not only his creation of the Chaplains Corps, but his embrace at a time in Western civilization when it was not popular, embrace not only obviously of the Christian faith that he was a part of, but also to bring in rabbis and to reach out to Jewish citizens of the new country. The majority of our servicemen and women identify as Christian or Jewish. We cannot push them aside. And I would argue, I'm not a medical professional, but I do know soldiers, that spiritual component is just as important as the competence of our doctors and nurses. And I will say, I also agree with what Justice Gorsuch said in the Maryland Cross case. Just because you feel offended, you don't have a right to sue. And as the Vice President said, the Bible stays.
Well, many of us have cheered your decisions to let America be America when it comes to our VA. One of the things, and I've heard you say this, is that you will do whatever it takes to make sure that you have people who, when they come to work, understand their job, whether it's pushing a broom or pushing a needle in someone's arm to draw blood, they're going to take care and respect that veteran and the mission they have at that place. Obviously, that's important to you.
Yes, sir. And let me say, we have an organization of 400,000 people, most of them dedicated patriots. They could be doing something else, in many cases making much more money, but they feel that they have the most noble mission in the federal government. We will have problems. there will be that rogue doctor or that rogue nurse. But what the president has allowed me to do, and we just saw it in Atlanta, there was a terrible tragedy where a veteran who was on his last days, ants got into his room and people fell down on the job. They did not talk to that veteran's family. I removed the leadership in that region because that is not acceptable. We make sure that the people at the top as well as the people at the bottom in terms of those who work for us are held accountable and held to the highest standards. Our veterans deserve no less.
Mr. Secretary, thank you so very, very much for being with us today.
Well, Governor, thank you for everything you do too.
Thank you. And because of VA Secretary Robert Wilkie, there is an improved website where veterans can now more easily access all kinds of information. They can find out about their benefits, clinic locations. There's a crisis line, much more. You can visit va.gov. That's va.gov. Every veteran ought to know that website and know how to get to it.